My name is Jack. In 2010, at the age of 45, I was diagnosed with a terminal brain tumor. The news shook my life, bringing a cloud of despair and pain that seemed inescapable. The doctors gave me only a few months to live, and each passing day was a grim reminder of my mortality. The treatments I tried were fruitless, and accepting my impending death was a lonely and anguishing process. However, an unexpected experience was about to change everything I knew about life and death. On that cold December night, I was in my room, battling the intense pain and dark thoughts that dominated my mind. Around 10 p.m., an absolute silence enveloped the room, and I felt a deep sense of emptiness inside me. My vital functions began to fail, and I could observe my body lifeless on the bed. The awareness of my imminent death brought a mix of fear and acceptance, as if I were on the edge of an unknown precipice. While my body was being monitored, showing no signs of life, my consciousness was transported on a journey beyond human understanding. A feeling of serenity replaced the pain that once consumed me, and I was enveloped by a soft, welcoming light. At that moment, I realized that I was about to embark on a transcendental experience where I would find answers to the deepest questions about existence. My spirit was drawn to a realm beyond the physical reality, and I felt more alive than ever. During this journey, I was taken to places of indescribable beauty and encountered beings radiating loving light. I was in a spiritual dimension where time and space did not exist in the same way as on Earth. The pains of my physical body disappeared, and I felt connected to an infinite source of love and wisdom. The understanding that my journey was just beginning brought a profound feeling of acceptance and curiosity about what would come next. As I explored these realms of consciousness, I was confronted with aspects of my life that I had forgotten or repressed. I saw my childhood, moments of joy and sadness, and my mother holding me lovingly. It was like watching a movie of my own life, but with a clarity and depth I had never experienced before. Each scene revealed new understandings about the choices I made and the paths I took, and I began to realize the profound impact of each experience on my existence. As these memories unfolded, all human emotions were on the surface. Love, pain, hope, and despair intertwined, creating a complex mosaic of experiences. I felt compassion for myself and others, recognizing that we are all connected on a deep and spiritual level. At that moment, I understood that death was not the end, but a transition to a higher state of existence, a journey of growth and redemption. Finally, the light that surrounded me began to intensify, and I felt an irresistible force drawing me towards it. It was a promise of total understanding and union with the universe. I was ready to embrace this new reality, leaving behind all earthly pains and sufferings, and merging with the infinite light of love. The acceptance of this destiny brought an indescribable peace to my being, and I knew I was about to reach a level of existence beyond imagination. As I moved towards the light, I was suddenly pulled into a dense and oppressive darkness. I felt enveloped by sticky shadows, filled with negative emotions accumulated throughout my life. These shadows were like a dense forest of despair and fear. Each step I took seemed to sink me deeper into this darkness. The sensation of being swallowed by these shadows was suffocating, and I desperately struggled to free myself. The shadows then began to take familiar forms. I recognized in them my fears, traumas, and insecurities that had haunted me throughout my life. It was as if every painful memory was returning to haunt me. The oppression was immense, and the more I tried to escape, the tighter the shadow's embrace became. It was a terrible feeling, as if I were trapped in an emotional prison with no way out. Amid this darkness, scenes from my life began to unfold around me. I saw my troubled childhood, the moments of abuse and fear that marked my youth. Each scene was a vivid reminder of pain and suffering, reopening old wounds and making the shadows even more oppressive. It was like watching a movie of my worst moments, unable to escape the screen. As I watched these scenes, I realized that the shadows were not just painful memories, but also represented the wrong decisions I had made over the years. I saw how fear and distrust shaped my relationships and choices, creating a vicious cycle of pain and isolation. I understood that I was living my own version of hell, where my inner demons imprisoned me in an endless cycle of suffering. Desperate for a way out, I remembered my grandmother's words about the power of love and forgiveness. In an act of desperation, I cried out for help, not knowing exactly to whom I was pleading. To my surprise, I felt a lightness beginning to spread through my being, as if the shadows around me were losing their strength. It was a sign that there might be hope of escaping that torment. The first step was to forgive myself and others. The vision of my mother, enveloped in a soft light, appeared before me. She was smiling, and it gave me new hope. I realized that to escape that state of infernal consciousness, I needed to confront and forgive my traumas and insecurities. It was a painful but necessary process. As I began to accept and forgive the dark aspects of my life, I felt the shadows around me starting to dissipate, allowing me to see a distant light. With a final wave of strength, I focused entirely on that distant light. I knew it was my only hope of escape. As I advanced towards the light, the shadows that imprisoned me continued to disappear. I felt a peace beginning to envelop me, as if I were emerging from a nightmare into a new awakening. I was ready to leave behind all the suffering and embrace the promise of redemption and love that the light represented. As I moved towards the light, a new force began to envelop me, offering a solace I had never felt before. Suddenly, before me, a majestic figure appeared, radiating a golden, warm light. It was such an intense presence that for a moment, all my anguish and pain seemed to disappear. This luminous being exuded an energy of unconditional love and protection, creating an environment of serenity around me. As the figure approached, I began to distinguish more details. Its eyes shone with ancient wisdom and deep affection. When it finally stopped in front of me, I felt an immediate and inexplicable connection. The luminous being spoke with a soft and comforting voice. "Jack, you are not alone. I am here to guide you." These words penetrated deeply into my being, bringing a sense of hope and renewal that I had not experienced in a long time. Curious and eager for answers, I asked, "Who are you? And why am I here?" The luminous being smiled tenderly and replied, "I am a manifestation of your higher self, the purest and wisest part of yourself. You are here to understand that your life has a greater purpose, and that the suffering you have experienced is part of a journey of growth and learning." The words resonated in my soul, revealing a profound and transformative truth that I needed to hear. As the luminous being spoke, scenes from my life began to reappear, but this time with a new perspective. I saw moments of pain and suffering under a different light, understanding that each experience, no matter how painful, had a purpose and a lesson. "Everything you went through brought you here," the being continued, "and now you have the opportunity to transform these experiences into wisdom and love." The words were like a balm for my emotional wounds, bringing gradual relief. The luminous being explained that to free myself from my traumas, I needed to forgive myself and others. "Love and forgiveness are the keys to true freedom and happiness," it said. I began to feel a slight relief inside me, as if a weight was being lifted. The shadows that surrounded me, representing my fears and traumas, began to fade as I embraced the power of forgiveness and unconditional love. With each word from the luminous being, I felt my heart open more. It enveloped me in a golden light, radiating warmth and love. This light penetrated my emotional wounds, slowly healing them. The scenes from my life that once caused me pain now transformed into sources of understanding and learning. The presence of the luminous being made me realize that true healing begins from within, through acceptance, love, and forgiveness. As the light around me intensified, I felt a deep peace take over. I knew that my journey of growth and learning was just beginning. The luminous being would accompany me, guiding me through the next stages of my spiritual transformation. With a renewed sense of purpose and hope, I was ready to move forward, embracing the light and leaving the shadows of the past behind. The light emanating from the being seemed to penetrate the darkest parts of my being, healing emotional wounds I didn't even know existed. As the light intensified, I began to realize that my journey of suffering was about to transform into a journey of redemption and love. It was as if all the pains I had experienced were being washed away, replaced by a sense of wholeness and acceptance. The luminous being guided me through a tunnel of light, where the colors were more vibrant than anything I had ever seen on earth. It was a symphony of lights and colors that seemed to dance around us, enveloped by an energy of unconditional love. As we advanced, I felt I was being prepared for a spiritual rebirth, where all my past experiences would be transformed into wisdom and compassion. I was ready to embrace this new reality. As we walked, the luminous being explained that true liberation comes from within. "Jack," it said, "you have the power to transform your pain into love, your suffering into understanding. Forgiveness is the key to your liberation. Forgive yourself and others, and you will find true peace." Its words were like a balm to my soul, bringing a clarity and understanding I had never experienced before. I began to feel a lightness, as if a weight was being lifted from my shoulders. Gradually, I realized that the tunnel of light was leading us to a vast, infinite field, where the light of love spread everywhere. I felt a deep connection with everything around me, as if every particle of light was embracing and welcoming me. "This is the place where your soul finds rest," said the luminous being. "Here, you can be who you truly are, without fear, without pain, just love and acceptance." The words brought me indescribable comfort, and I felt pure joy flood my being. As I adjusted to this new reality, I saw familiar figures in the distance. They were those I loved and who had already departed from this world. Their presence radiated love and longing, and I could feel their warm welcomes. I met my mother, who enveloped me in a tender and comforting embrace. I felt that all the hurts and regrets of the past were being dissolved in that moment of reunion, bringing a sense of closure and peace. The luminous being then led me to a place of deep reflection. "Now is the time to look within," it said. "See how all your experiences have shaped who you are. Use this wisdom to grow and evolve." I closed my eyes and allowed myself to dive into deep meditation, reliving moments of my life with a new perspective. Each memory transformed into a source of learning, and I felt a deep and loving understanding of my own being. Finally, I felt ready to fully embrace this new existence. The luminous being bade farewell, leaving me with one last message. "Remember, Jack, love is the most powerful force in the universe. Use it to guide your journey from now on." With these words resonating in my mind, I felt completely renewed and ready to face any challenge that life or death might bring. The journey had transformed me in ways I could never have imagined. With my soul renewed by light and love, I began to reflect deeply on the journey I had traveled. Each experience, each pain, and each moment of joy now made sense in a larger context of spiritual growth and evolution. I realized that all the challenges and difficulties I faced in life were, in fact, opportunities to learn and become a higher version of myself. I felt immense gratitude for this understanding. The light that enveloped me seemed intrinsically connected to all things, revealing the interconnection of all souls and experiences. It was as if I were seeing the grand tapestry of life being woven before me, each thread representing a choice, an action, and emotion. The beauty of this tapestry was overwhelming, and I finally understood that everything had a purpose, that nothing was random. Every fiber of my being was in tune with this new wisdom. As I adjusted to this new reality, I realized that forgiveness had played a crucial role in my transformation. Forgiving myself and others had freed my spirit from the chains of the past, allowing me to move forward freely. It was a powerful lesson about the importance of forgiveness in the journey of self-discovery and growth. I realized that true forgiveness brings with it an indescribable lightness and freedom. The reunion with my mother and other loved ones who had departed from this world was a deeply comforting experience. Feeling their unconditional love and acceptance brought a closure I didn't know I needed. My mother's words, encouraging me to continue the journey with love and courage, echoed in my soul. This moment of connection restored in me a sense of belonging and purpose. The luminous being that had guided me there reminded me that love is the most powerful force in the universe. "Jack," it said, "continue to use love as your compass. It will guide your choices, heal your wounds, and lead you on a path of peace and fulfillment." These words took root deeply in my heart, and I knew that upon returning to my body, I would carry this wisdom and renewed strength with me. As the journey came to an end, I felt a complete renewal of my being. I was ready to return to life with a new perspective, a new purpose. The near-death experience had transformed my understanding of existence, revealing the depth of love and the interconnection of all things. I knew that from then on, I would live with more compassion, gratitude, and purpose, guided by the light I had found. I reached the final point of the journey with a clarity and peace I had never experienced before. The light began to dissipate, and I felt my consciousness returning to my body. I woke up with a sense of renewal and deep gratitude. I knew that life was a precious gift, and that every moment should be lived with love and purpose. My experience had shown me that even in the darkest hours, there is always a light waiting to guide us back to love and redemption. After returning to my body with a renewed sense of purpose and understanding, I knew that my near-death experience could not be kept just for myself. The message I received of love, forgiveness, and the interconnection of all things needed to be shared with the world. I began to see my life as an opportunity to help others find the same peace and clarity that I had found. First, I started talking to my friends and family about my experience. At first, there was skepticism and doubt, but over time, people began to perceive the sincerity and depth of my words. I told them about the shadows that represented our inner demons and how forgiveness could dissipate those darknesses. I shared the feeling of unconditional love I felt when wrapped in the light and how it changed my perspective on life and death. I began to seek opportunities to speak publicly about my journey. I was invited to speak at churches, community centers, and spiritual events. Each time I shared my story, I felt a deep connection with the audience. People were moved, and many approached me after the talks to share their own experiences and personal struggles. I realized that by opening my heart, I was encouraging others to do the same. In addition to the talks, I decided to write a book about my experience. I wanted the message of love and forgiveness to reach as many people as possible. In the process of writing, I relived many of the emotions and revelations I had during my near-death experience. It was a therapeutic process that reinforced even more the transformative power of love and forgiveness. The book was well received and touched the lives of many readers, bringing hope and inspiration. I also started conducting workshops and spiritual retreats. During these occasions, I guided participants through meditations and deep reflections on their own lives. I encouraged them to face their fears and traumas and to seek the power of forgiveness to find inner peace. Each retreat was a collective journey of healing and growth, and seeing the transformations in people was one of the most rewarding experiences of my life. To reach even more people, I used social media and other digital platforms. I created videos, posts, and blogs where I shared insights and stories of overcoming. The response was incredible, with thousands of people connecting and sharing their own journeys of spiritual growth. The community that formed around this message of love and forgiveness became a constant source of support and inspiration. Today, I continue to dedicate my life to spreading the message I received. Every conversation, lecture, and interaction is an opportunity to plant seeds of hope and transformation in people. My experience showed me that no matter what difficulties we face, there is always a light waiting to guide us, and that through love and forgiveness, we can find true peace and fulfillment. I feel blessed to be able to share this truth with the world.